It's the training plan.
His terrible crime stunned the nation.
Murder second. Murder second. Guilty murder second.
His victim, Derek Roby, a 4-year-old boy savagely beaten to death. Who is Eric Smith? A heartless killer or a deeply disturbed boy?
He's a good kid. He's my best friend.
Did Eric show Derek Roby any mercy? Forget it.
The chilling story of Eric Smith.
When you look in a mirror, what do you see?
It's a normal kid just like anybody else.
Told tonight for the first time in his own words.
A regular kid wouldn't do this.
A regular kid wouldn't do this, you're right.
What happened? A rare glimpse inside the mind of a young murderer.
He come right out and asked me for help. And I did not give him what he needed.
And a family trying to unravel the mystery of what made their son kill.
Turning Point. Tonight, Eric Smith, inside the mind of a child killer.
Good evening, I'm Meredith Vieira. All of us shudder at the thought of a murdered 4-year-old child. Every heart can imagine the despair of the tiny victim's parents. But who has space in their hearts for the parents of the killer, even if the killer is a child himself? Imagine that your 5th grader, a quiet boy who never really fit in, but had never been in any trouble with the law, comes to you and confesses to the most horrible crime you can think of, the random and deliberate murder of a preschooler. Tonight you'll hear for the first time ever from a boy who was a 13-year-old killer, and from Ted and Tammy Smith, his parents, who turned him in. They say they are not looking for your sympathy. They, along with the rest of us, are just trying to figure out what went so terribly wrong with their son.
The first count of the indictment is murder in the second degree. Your verdict is guilty. Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Eric Smith stood with a blank stare on his face, revealing nothing, as he was convicted of the worst crime imaginable.
Murder second. Murder second.
We got him.
Guilty murder second.
1 year earlier, he had brutally killed a 4-year-old child he barely knew.
Guilty?
Yes.
Alan Hall?
Yes.
Donna Ellis?
Because the crime was so senseless and the criminal so young, an entire nation tripped over itself, trying to get a closer look.
Clara Watson? Yes. William Robinson? Melody Halsey?
The victim's parents, Dale and Doreen Roby, cried for their child Derek when the verdict was handed down, as they've done most days since he was murdered.
Charles Lehman?
Ted and Tammy Smith cried for their child Eric, the son that now seemed a stranger.
A child doesn't all of a sudden just kill someone.
Taste test here?
Something went terribly wrong, and I don't know why, and I might not ever know why.
It is the first question that comes to mind whenever Tammy Smith glances around her living room. Everywhere she looks, her treasures are framed in moments of time that now seem so long ago. There is her older daughter, Stacy, the baby of the family, Holly, and then there is the middle child, the only son, Eric. He smiles at her from the wall, still revealing nothing. Each night, Eric's father, Ted, comes home from work, looks at those family pictures, and is reminded once again.
We thought we had a kind, considerate, helpful, very nice young man. And then, boom. Ain't a picture.
Hi, Eric. You're a mean-looking dude, you know that?
The words of a grandfather to his grandson seem all the eerier because they were once said in innocence. Red Wilson thought he knew the child so often captured by his video camera.
some people sit back and think, well, gosh, they had to see something. So there was nothing there. Absolutely nothing.
Holly.
Holly Smith is still too little to see anything beyond the love of a sister for her big brother.
He's nice. He's a good kid. He's my best friend. And he's not here now.
The brother that Holly remembers rode away forever one rainy August morning in 1993. Eric was on his way to the summer recreation program in his hometown of Savona, New York. He was the first kid to arrive. The only other people there were a group of insurance agents chatting around a picnic table.
I saw Eric being kind of comical looking. He was a little kid, and he had glasses, of course, and red hair.
Tom Van Osdel says Eric began bumping into the picnic table with his bike. That triggered an unexpected reaction from one of the men, who turned on Eric, threatening him.
He was a 270-pound guy saying, I bet you I can beat you up. Well, I bet you I can beat your head in. The final comment was, he says, I bet you I have a gun in my glove compartment. I can shoot you. And I said, enough of this. On Eric's part, he left very quietly and very nicely. I mean, there wasn't like, he didn't go off and start throwing rocks or anything like this. He wasn't upset. This is why it just leaves you wondering.
As he rode off, Eric noticed a little boy, 4-year-old Derek Roby, walking alone toward the rec center. In his confession to state police, Eric told Captain Walter DeLapp what happened next.
He came up behind Derek and he asked him if he wanted to know a shortcut to the rec area, and if so, follow me, I know one, and you can beat all the other kids. And Derek said, no, I'm not supposed to. Eric said, that's all right, I'm right here, in those words. Derek again responded, my mother said I'm not supposed to go with anybody. Eric again told him, look, it's all right, I'm right here. You just follow me and I'll show you the shortcut.
Eric got off his bike and lured the 4-year-old into a wooded area. For the next several minutes, he choked Derek and threw rocks at him, 3 of them. Then Eric sodomized him with a stick. Derek Roby's body was discovered that afternoon. Police began searching for what they assumed had to be a madman who'd wandered off the highway and into the quiet village of Savona. Derek's mother, Doreen, assumed the same.
I hope, and I know they will catch you, whoever you are. They'll do it. They have promised me that they are going to find the person that did this.
It was chaos. There's just so many things going on in people's minds. Who could have done this? Why would anybody do this?
Tammy Smith never suspected that the answers lay within her 5th grader. But when she remembered that Eric had gone to the rec center early on the day of the murder, she thought he might know something, so she took him to the police.
Maybe Eric seen something or was threatened by someone in some way.
Over the next 2 days, investigators continued to question Eric.
Each time we talked to him, he would give up a little more information until such time as his story was not ringing true at all.
Now we're gonna run through it once more, okay?
Okay, do you want me to go a little bit slower?
No, the same speed that you were doing, okay? We want you to drive just like you drove Monday morning.
On Friday, August 6th, 4 days after the murder, Eric appeared in one more video. Only this time it was the police controlling the camera. Eric calmly reenacted his bike ride, while back home, his parents grew increasingly fearful that their son was hiding something.
Okay.
Something inside me just kept saying, something wrong here. Something's not right.
And we stressed how important it was that he tell the truth, that this is serious, that if someone threatened him to tell us, if he knows anything to tell us.
2 days later on Sunday, as Doreen Roby grieved for her son, Tammy Smith was about to lose hers. She was no better prepared. By now, police had questioned Eric at least 5 times and had told his parents that the boy's story didn't add up. Something was missing. For an hour that night, Eric's parents gently tried to coax him to tell the truth. They believed Eric had seen Derek Roby's killer, but they never thought they were looking at him. The truth came out quietly, in the simple words of a 13-year-old.
He turned to me and he said, "Mom, I did it." And at that point, I lost control. I stood up and shook him. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was, "Why? Or if you did this, then you tell me what you did. You know, tell me what you did." He just kept saying, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know why, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And I'm yelling and screaming and bawling and everything at once.
For a few hours, the Smiths sat on a secret too horrible to keep. Family members finally decided to end the town's pain and start dealing with their own.
Something was wrong with him. We knew something was wrong with him. He needed help. And the way to help him was to take him down to the authorities.
They drove Eric to the county courthouse in Bath, where the district attorney and the captain of the state police were waiting.
We took him up in our car, and he laid on my lap in the back seat all the way up. And we told him that this is something you have to do. You have to go tell these people now what you told us. And I knew that was the right thing, but it was still hard. Because I knew that once we got him there, that would probably be the last ride, or the last hug, in that way.
It is a crime that has changed life in that community.
The news they've heard is shocking. A teenager well known. The only thing more shocking than the crime was the identity of the killer.
The Eric Smith that made headlines the next morning bore no resemblance to a child lying on his mother's lap. Savona had its monster, and it felt right to hate him.
In the United States, murder is becoming child's play. Look closely at these faces, but don't let their youth or even their sadness work on your emotions. These children are killers.
Eric Smith quickly became a national symbol of juvenile crime people were no longer willing to put up with. The parents of the little boy Eric had killed were a constant reminder of the inhumanity one child can inflict on another.
With us today are Derek Roby's parents, Doreen and Dale. What was the last thing, Doreen, that Derek said to you that morning?
He said, "Goodbye, and I love you, Mom." To have somebody just come and rip him out of our lives just is not fair. And this thing has to pay.
I don't blame them for their anger or anything they've gone through. You know, they lost a lot, and they'll never get it back. But he's my son. And it could have been anybody's son.
long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and go.
Hey, out in Bullhead City, Arizona, this makes Ace the place.
We're here to help you.
An Ace 6-outlet power strip now only $233, and an Ace 24-piece socket and bit set just $9.99.
Hey, Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Have a joyous holiday with Red Door, the sophisticated fragrance from Elizabeth Arden. Now, enjoy a special collection of travel-size Red Door treasures. Just $40 at the Elizabeth Arden counter.
This is the time for children. This is the time for wonder. This is the time to be young. This is the time I feel young again. Christmas time has come. Now Christmas time has come. A time for magic.
Who could bring together some of music's biggest stars and a special appearance by Priscilla Presley? Only the King.
You're looking for trouble?
For the first time on network television.
You came to the right place.
John Stamos hosts Elvis the Tribute, Thursday on ABC.
Sunday, it's Lois and Clark on their regular night in time.
Lois Lane and Superman will wish they had never betrayed Lex Luthor.
The ex-Mrs. Lex returns for vengeance with an evil Lois lookalike. Emma Samms guest stars Lois and Clark, Sunday here on ABC.
Turning Point. Eric Smith, Inside the Mind of a Child Killer, continues.
In more than a year since the murder, Eric has turned 14, and his voice has changed. In all that time, he has never spoken with a reporter, and it's not easy to talk to Eric Smith. During our interview, his attorney and parents hovered just off camera, and at their request, we agreed not to ask Eric about the specifics of his crime. But those aren't the only reasons he's hard to talk to.
When you look in a mirror, what do you see?
Me. A red-haired kid. Freckled glasses. That's a normal kid, just like anybody else.
Eric Smith still sees himself as that little boy in his family's home videos. You have to remind him that he's not.
A regular kid. A regular kid wouldn't do this.
A regular kid wouldn't do this, you're right.
A regular kid doesn't kill someone. So who is this kid who killed Derek Roby? It would be so much easier if he really were a monster, instead of a 14-year-old who hates school and loves cracking silly jokes.
And why don't you like math? Because I know...
Too many numbers.
Too many numbers.
It's a joke.
After sitting with Eric for 4 hours, there's a lot you don't get. He talks about his future as if he has no past. Eric says he plans to move out west one day and become a country singer.
What would you sing if you were a country western singer?
Just...
What would you sing about?
Life.
But when you ask him about his life on August 2nd, 1993, and what he did that day, he suddenly shuts off.
Help me understand, Eric. If a regular kid wouldn't do this, who would? A kid named Eric did, so who was that kid? Do you want to know?
Not really.
Why not, do you think?
I don't know.
It's the constant I don't knows that hurt Eric's parents the most. For Tammy, a homemaker and mother, and Ted, a factory worker, life used to be so clear.
Do you think Eric understands the impact of what he did, Tammy? Do you think he gets it yet?
I don't think he does.
Not really.
It's like what happened is in one place and he's in another.
What could I have done different? What could I have changed? What if?
Ted and Eric used to fish on this lake most weekends. They were here the morning of the day Eric told his parents he'd killed Derek Roby. Now Ted sits here alone, sifting through old memories, second-guessing every moment of a father's life with his son.
I'm sure there was times that He was hurt. He was upset. He had that look of, why me? Why this? What did I do that I didn't see?
Tammy blames herself for what she didn't know at the time she was pregnant with Eric. Tammy's an epileptic who controls her seizures with a drug called Triadone. She took that drug through all of her pregnancies, unaware that it could cause serious physical and neurological birth defects.
And I was told that it would not harm my children.
It didn't seem to harm her two daughters, but Eric was different. He was born with small, low-set ears that bent toward the front of his face.
When Eric was born, the doctor said, tape his ears back to his head. Eventually, they'll be all right. Well, I tried it. I taped his ears back. It got to the point where it wasn't doing any good.
Before long, Tammy realized her son's problems went beyond his ears. He didn't walk or talk until he was 2. And as a toddler, he threw constant temper tantrums over nothing, holding his breath and banging his head against the floor. But once again, doctors reassured Tammy everything would be all right.
I did think it was a big deal then, but the doctors just thought it was, like he was behind a little bit, he'd catch up type thing.
But by grade school, Eric still had trouble catching up. He was a slow learner, and other children were beginning to notice. Eric was forced to repeat 4th grade and found himself in the same class as his younger sister, Holly. One day, he scratched his face out of the class picture, telling Holly he didn't think he was good enough to be in the yearbook. She still remembers the humiliation Eric endured.
People would always say he was dumb because he'd never pay attention in class, because he was trying to make new friends. He's trying to get friends by being like a class clown.
I'm sitting there and I'm cracking out jokes and stuff like that, and everybody's laughing and stuff. I just like to make people laugh.
At the end of the day, do you think that got you friends? Do you think people liked you anymore? Were you any happier?
Yeah, because I knew that I didn't hear any negative things.
Yeah.
He used to say that he'd never have friends, and he doesn't know how I'd get friends. He thought I was really popular.
I like to pick on myself, even though I don't like hearing negative stuff. Because when I pick on myself, it doesn't hurt me as much,
Most children are teased. It's a natural part of growing up, and kids learn to deal with it. Maybe that's why one of the first rhymes we all learn is sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Except in Eric's case, that wasn't true.
Just bugged me. I didn't really say much about it, but it bugged me.
His family says the teasing was so constant that for Eric, just taking the school bus home became a traumatic experience. The other kids would try to trip him. In order to get to his seat, Eric had to develop a strategy.
If I see your feet move, I'd hold my hands up on the thing, just bring my feet up so they won't trip me. I'd just swing like a monkey, all the way down the aisle.
And that was just a typical day?
Mm-hmm. Typical day, regularly.
A typical day for Tammy and Ted meant seeing their son come home in tears.
We just kept telling him, you have to learn to stick up for yourself and for who you are, because no matter where you go, the kids are going to pick on you.
Did you think he was being a crybaby at the time? Did you think he's being a little wimpy?
I did. When people were real aggressive with him, he'd kind of shy back. He wouldn't fight back.
But Eric was beginning to show real signs of emotional disturbance, only no one recognized them at the time. He regularly wet his bed until he was 11. He became fascinated with fire and began killing small animals. After Eric's arrest, a neighbor announced the boy had once tried to strangle his cat.
What came out in you that day?
I don't know.
Yeah. Does it bother you that you don't know?
it bothers me or not.
Dr. Ellerman, you're still good.
At Eric's trial, it was defense psychiatrist Stephen Herman who tried to put together the disturbing pieces of the puzzle sitting before him. Where did the savagery that killed Derek Roby come from? Was it a byproduct of the drug Eric's mother took, or the result of years of taunting? Or was Eric simply an evil boy?
I've seen bad and evil kids. I don't have that feeling about Eric. I see him as a sad and somewhat depressed child who can, at times, intermittently become very, very deadly angry.
Looking back now, Ted Smith recalls two vivid memories of Eric's anger and sadness. The first is of his son at age 9, the day a kid at school told him Ted wasn't his biological father.
I come home to find him sitting in a chair, crying, and the first thing he did is say, "Are you my dad?"
Eric and his older sister Stacy are Tammy's children from a previous marriage. Her former husband remained close to Stacy after the divorce, but he never laid claim to his baby son. When Eric learned Stacy was wanted by their biological father and he wasn't, their relationship began to fall apart. Ted's second vivid memory of Eric's anger occurred just a few months before the murder, and it was directed at Stacy. It happened in the family living room. Eric complimented his older sister on her hairstyle. She shoved him and told him to shut up.
The next thing I know, he charged her and just kind of tackled into her like a football player would. It was just swinging, just screaming, yelling, "I'm going to hurt you. I'm tired of you hitting me and pushing me." And then later, Eric came to me, and you could see that tension, like you stretched a rubber band all the way. And he says to me, he says, "Dad, I need help."
I knew I had a problem with anger. I knew I do.
Could you feel it inside you? Was it something that built up inside you? I mean, how would you know that you had the problem?
Because I could tell that I didn't have very many patience for it anymore. And I could tell that I was getting mad easier and stuff like that. I got mad or angry a little quicker every time. So.
Ted told Eric to do what he does when he's angry. Go to the garage and hit a punching bag.
Next thing I know, I hear the door open back up. And he comes walking in, and it's like a totally different kid. Back to the way he was before he got angry. And his hands were all marred all up, skin's pulled back a little bit, bloody. And "What did you do?" And he said, "I just went out and beat on a tree."
I don't know, when I get mad, usually I just hit something. And whatever it is, it is.
But you hurt yourself, you know.
I didn't feel it or nothing. It doesn't really hurt when I do it real fast, so.
And then what happens? You just feel better, or?
Yeah, I feel a little bit more relieved.
Ted says he is haunted now by his memory of Eric's bloodied hands and his failure to really listen to his child.
He'd come right out and ask me for help. And I did not give him what he needed. And yeah, I do feel like I failed him there.
But the one time Ted and Tammy finally understood their son needed help and tried to get it, they now believe they damaged him the worst. It was the night they took him to the district attorney's office to confess to Derek Roby's murder.
Would you do anything differently, in retrospect? I would have gotten a lawyer before the confession.
But the Smiths did not consult a lawyer first. They say they knew Eric would have to be punished for Derek Roby's murder, but they also wanted to get Eric's psychiatric help as soon as possible.
We were assured that within a few days he would get the help and not to worry. You know, he'll be okay. He's going someplace and he'll get help.
Who reassured you?
Tunney did.
The district attorney, John Tunney.
Yes.
She sat on the floor out in the hallway, and her father, Red Wilson, was with her primarily, and she sat with her knees up and her arms around her knees and her head down.
And he said, don't worry, he'll get the help that he needs. He'll get it within a few days.
After Eric finished his confession, Tammy and Ted said goodbye to their son. It was about 4 a.m. 2 hours later, at 6 a.m., there was a bulletin over the radio.
And they named Eric. And then they said he's charged with murder in the 2nd degree as an adult.
The Smiths say they thought Eric would be tried as a juvenile. They didn't know that in New York, a 13-year-old can be tried as an adult. But the district attorney did know, and he never told them.
I fell to pieces. I was angry. Because at no time did he say that. And he knew that. He knew that from the start. He knew it before we took him in there. And he never once said a word.
There was the subject didn't come up. They didn't ask me. Well, avoid it in the sense that I didn't bring it up. Did I lay out for them the anticipated course of things? I did not, no.
Tunney was following the law when he charged Eric Smith as an adult. But he also had the power to recommend that Eric first undergo a psychiatric evaluation before a decision was made about how to prosecute him.
Oh, I suppose I could have recommended it.
Did you think about that?
That particular question, no, wasn't something that I considered, okay? Under our system, that's not my job, it's not my burden, okay?
The prosecutor believes he was just acting in the public's interest. Defense attorney Kevin Bradley disagrees.
Why does that bother you? He is presented with a 13-year-old who has committed a terrible crime, has killed a little boy, a 4-year-old boy. What's he supposed to do? The kid is in front of him confessing to it. What do you want him to do?
I want him to get a psychiatric evaluation.
Why?
A kid that would do this probably has something very wrong inside of his brain.
Bradley would try to argue that in his defense of Eric Smith, but he would do so without Eric's help. Throughout the trial, Eric remained silent. He had already said enough.
Had he not told his family or somebody, I'm hard-pressed to imagine that we could have proven that he did it. I don't, in fact, on the basis of what I know right now, I don't think we could begin to prove that he did it.
Inadvertently, did the Smiths do the worst thing they could for their son in bringing him in that night?
In retrospect, yes. Absolutely. I mean, they fed him to a prosecution that didn't care about their son or them.
He was about that tall. He weighed 40 pounds. He lived 4 years and 10 months. And that person killed him.
If you and your wife are off to beautiful Kauai, Visa Gold's purchase power can pay for every romantic moment.
Hi, honey. Finally came down.
Not to mention a new pair of glasses.
I wanted to tell you how much I'm enjoying this second honeymoon. And that I loved you.
Thank you. Because Jenkins Optical can make new glasses in an hour, but they won't take American Express.
Who's that?
Visa Gold.
I've never seen him before in my life.
Zale sells more diamonds than any jeweler in the country. We also sell lots of diamond earrings, like these half-carat studs, only $4.99. Good things really do come in small packages. Zales, the diamond earring store.
These people were killed accidentally by a colorless, odorless gas, carbon monoxide.
My husband carried this picture in his wallet for 21 years.
I woke up in the hospital, and Patty never woke up.
We gave our pictures to First Alert to help prevent more needless deaths.
Get a First Alert carbon monoxide detector for your home.
Please, before it's too late.
Not a very interesting piece. Reminiscent of early Doddies.
If he's so smart, why is he using those other batteries?
Now, it's...
You're right, Mom. The museum can be fun.
The Copper Top tops them all.
Beyond the mystery of the human soul.
You said she can talk.
Yeah, but it's some kind of language of her own.
And the courage of the human heart.
You think that's the best life we can give her?
I don't think her life is ours to give.
Lies the power of innocence.
Who's going to look after her? You?
And the triumph of freedom.
She doesn't need anybody.
Jodie Foster, Liam Neeson in a Michael-acted film. Nell, rated PG-13. Now playing in New York and Los Angeles. Sneak preview Saturday.
Saturday, sing along with Aretha Franklin in Detroit, Amy Grant in Nashville, Carly Simon in New York, Barry Manilow, and more. It's Christmas at Home with the Stars. Then, skating's most famous pair take the ice in a very special event. Seiko presents The Artistry of Torval and Dean after Christmas at Home with the Stars, Saturday on ABC.
It's the hottest kids television show, and it's the hottest toy. But are you losing control of your kids to the Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Plus...
Well, he saved my life.
It's something I never thought would happen to me in a lifetime.
He had two passions, making money and giving it away. The mysterious millionaire who handed out money anonymously. Friday.
Turning Point. Eric Smith, inside the mind of a child killer.
When we return, a courtroom and a family struggle to understand what dark reasons could drive a child to murder.
Our son is the most important thing at this point. And if it means hanging our dirty laundry out to dry, then that's what it is.
Turning Point will continue after this from our ABC stations.
The Columbia River will soon have more water flow. I'm Jeff Gianola. Tonight at 11, a major decision today means dams will start releasing more water to save the salmon. We'll tell you how much it'll cost you and higher electric rates. And a decision is made concerning the fate of this dog sentenced to die. We'll tell you what the governor decided at 11.
Tomorrow, the city of Portland may give city workers a raise. Is that what you had in mind when you voted on ballot measure 8? Watch for the results and reaction tomorrow at 5.
We bring famous designer brands that you, the consumer, will recognize when you see it on the sleeve itself. You don't have to ask who made the garment. And I think that this is what has been missing.
Happy holidays from PetSmart.
Make your holiday dinner easy this year. Come into Safeway or call the Party Order hotline and order a complete dinner. Dial 1-800-SAFEWAY to order juicy turkey with home-style bread dressing, creamy mashed potatoes and gravy, cranberry sauce, and even pumpkin pie. All you do is heat, serve, and enjoy. Complete holiday dinners from Safeway. For a happy and easy holiday season, nobody does it better for less than Safeway.
Will Portland City employees get raises tomorrow at 5?
Turning Point. Eric Smith, inside the mind of a child killer, continues.
Beginning today, the eyes of the nation will be riveted on our part of the world as the Eric Smith trial begins today.
As soon as we can yank the tape out of the machine, as fast as we can do that and run across the parking lot, then that's what we'll do.
For 3 weeks last summer, the boy with the red hair and freckles was back on display. It would be up to a jury to decide what to do with Eric Smith.
County court is now in session.
There was never any dispute that Eric had killed Derek Roby. The question on trial here revolved around his state of mind when he did it.
He decided that that child was going to die, and that's exactly what he did.
Prosecutor John Tunney saw in Eric's blank stare a cold-blooded killer who knew what he was doing.
And he told me that he held it, and he squeezed it real hard.
The jury would watch as the investigator who took Eric's confession, Captain Walter DeLapp, recounted what Eric had told him, only to break down. The tears of a grown man stood in stark contrast to the image of a boy, evoked by prosecution psychiatrist Kathleen Quinn. Quinn had interviewed Eric about his behavior after killing Derek.
He said, I slept like a baby. He said he was eating well, and he went about his activities. He rode his bike, was smoking, watched TV, played Nintendo.
But to the defense, Eric's seeming indifference and that blank stare were signs of mental illness, not cold-blooded calculation.
To pick this up and throw this down on a little boy's head, that suggests calm, deliberate action, a plan? Is it a rage?
Attorney Kevin Bradley argued that Eric never intended to kill Derek Roby, but was overwhelmed by a rage he couldn't control. Defense psychiatrist Stephen Herman would diagnose Eric's illness as intermittent explosive disorder. Eric had described it to him as the mad switch.
And I said, what do you mean, the mad switch? He said, it's like A to B with a line going through it. Derek was A, and the mad switch was B. I said, what was it about Derek? And he said, he's smaller and practically helpless. I had to get my anger out on him. I wanted to hurt him.
Do you remember talking to Dr. Herman about the mad switch? What is your mad switch?
Just when I get all angry and stuff. I might be, just happy-go-lucky now, and someone get me mad. It's from going happy to getting mad. I just call it the mad switch.
But is it that fast? It just happens?
Sometimes it might just progressively go that way. It might just... depends. And I don't know what it depends on.
No one knows what triggered Eric's violence on August 2nd, 1993, turning a child into a child killer. But insurance agent Tom Van Osdale testified about what happened just moments earlier that morning, when he and some of his co-workers ran into Eric, and one of them began to taunt the boy.
I just want to make sure I'm clear. Who said, I bet I can beat your head in?
The agent
and
directed that to Eric.
Maybe if he hadn't said that, it might not have happened. I mean, but that statement is so shocking because that's what Eric did.
Eric let his anger out on Derek Roby, the way he once had on a tree, after fighting with his older sister Stacy. He told both psychiatrists who examined him for trial what he was thinking before he killed Derek.
My life was junk. My sister treated me like trash, and the kids treat me like trash.
People picking on you, spitting, sister hitting you, screaming at you.
That sister, Stacy, showed up briefly at her brother's trial.
What did you think about your brother?
I love him. That's all I gotta say.
Much more would be said inside the courtroom, as Eric's home life and his parents were publicly dissected.
When you were raising all your children, Eric included, is part of what you worked on knowing right from wrong?
Yeah. When he was smaller, I spanked him. As the kids got older, we listed a list of rules on the refrigerator, and
every decision the Smiths had made in raising their children was questioned. There was testimony about Ted's sometimes violent temper and his yelling. Finally, the family's darkest secret was revealed.
Tammy Smith told me that in early 1993, Stacy had told her that Ted Smith had touched her breasts at night.
Although the Smiths claim it only happened once, and Ted received therapy for fondling his stepdaughter, people who heard that testimony immediately wondered about Eric. It was the one time during the trial that he says he wanted to speak.
I just wanted to stand up and say, listen, you know, you weren't there. He didn't abuse me, and if you don't believe me, it's your right not to, but he didn't abuse me, so.
We have nothing to hide. Our son is the most important thing at this point. And if it means hanging our dirty laundry out to dry, then that's what it is.
By the time they testified, Ted and Tammy had already been tried and convicted within the rural community where their families have lived for generations. Eric's crime unleashed a rage here that was too big to focus on just one child.
It's like if you feel sorry for Tammy Smith, then you're not being fair to Dale and Doreen Roby.
There were harassing phone calls and anonymous hate mail.
A few people asked me, do I miss my brother? And I say yes a lot, and they said that they wouldn't if it was their brother.
Why would people feel this need to be cruel to the Smiths?
Because people don't want to feel that Eric Smith is one of their children. It's a whole lot more comfortable with the idea that Eric Smith is just a weird kid that had some terrible parents, and just put him away. I mean, that's the thrust of the prosecution, out of sight, out of mind.
In his closing argument, Prosecutor Tunney would remind the jurors that Eric Smith had confessed that while he was choking Derek Roby, he thought about letting the 4-year-old go, but then said to himself, forget it.
Ask yourself, did Eric show Derek Roby any mercy? Forget it.
Please stand.
10.5 hours later, the jury would reach its verdict.
Your verdict is guilty. Is that your verdict?
Yes.
Eric was convicted of second-degree murder as an adult, meaning he would not be sent to a mental institution as the defense had hoped. Jurors would later tell us they believed Eric deserved to be punished as a murderer, not a madman. But they also believed Eric is clearly disturbed. As they filed out of the courthouse that night, they struggled with the choice they had made.
That was the hardest decision I ever had to make.
Do you think Eric can get the help he needs?
I hope so. Our hearts were broken over the results of this trial. But we grieve not only for ourselves, we grieve for the Roby family. Our hearts go out to them. We know nothing can bring back their little boy, and we wish we could bring him back.
Have you ever wanted to talk to his family or thought about his family?
But they probably mad at me and stuff like that.
Shouldn't they be?
Eric Smith is sentenced to a term of detention and incarceration, the maximum of which is life, the minimum of which is 9 years.
Eric was sent to a juvenile facility, which is said to have the best psychiatric care New York's prison system offers.
I want to know what's wrong with me, but yeah, I'm scared to find out.
Are you afraid it could happen again? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Eric, is that someone telling you that, saying that to you, or is that something you really believe in your heart?
And if I don't get the right help, it could.
Do I want Eric Smith living next to me, A, after he's had the best psychiatric therapy possible, or B, after he's had whatever psychiatric care he gets in the prison system? And my answer is A. So people can be happy that I lost, but they're not going to be so happy when dead bodies are found 15, 20 years from now, and nobody knows what happened other than Eric Smith moved into the community.
Eric must be transferred to an adult prison by the time he's 21. A year later, at age 22, Eric Smith will be eligible for parole and could be released.
When we return, the kind of psychiatric care Eric Smith will receive in prison.
Looking for the perfect tasteful gift? Give the gift of TGI Fridays with a Fridays gift certificate. Good for the great tastes that have made Fridays famous, like blackened chicken Alfredo. At Fridays, it's going to be great, guaranteed.
Now at TGI Fridays, when you buy any Fridays gift certificate, you can get our 30th anniversary calendar for only $1.25 more. It contains over $65 of savings on your Fridays favorites. TGI Fridays. It's going to be great, guaranteed.
Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going, and...
How would you feel about a hair color with natural ingredients? Now here's a first. Introducing Clairol's Natural Instincts, the only hair color with a rare blend of aloe, chamomile, ginseng. In just 10 minutes, hair that looks natural and is actually better conditioned than before you colored it. Follow your natural instincts from Clairol.
Have a joyous holiday with Red Door, the sophisticated fragrance from Elizabeth Arden. Now, enjoy a special collection of travel-size Red Door treasures. Just $40 at the Elizabeth Arden counter.
You'll find a gift for every member of the family at Target. Like Fruit of the Loom comfort underwear, including women's panties, men's and boys' briefs, and athletic crew socks. All at great prices at Target.
Time for magic.
Saturday on a special holiday commish.
Merry Christmas.
Ernest Borgnine teams up with Tony to catch a thief.
I haven't been a PI since Truman.
But there's a fatal twist when the investigation leads to murder. All new commish, Saturday here on ABC.
Sunday, Woody Allen in his first movie made especially for television, Don't Drink the Water, a Cold War comedy with Michael J. Fox, Julie Kavner, Mayim Bialik, and Don DeLuise with Woody Allen. Don't Drink the Water, the ABC Sunday movie.
Thursday, 50 years ago, everyone thought the war in Europe was nearly won. Everyone but Hitler. They didn't make it home for the holidays. They made history.
The Battle of the Bulge was the biggest battle the U.S. Army ever fought.
David Brinkley, White Christmas, 1944. Turning Point, Thursday.
When you walk in, you know that you're going to get something different. People that are working there are also very helpful. They even have jewelry, and I'm a real jewelry person. I've been shopping Pier 1 before shopping Pier 1 was cool. They've changed. They're more contemporary.
I love to go there holidays and get ideas about decorations for the house and things like that.
If you want to shop for you, if you want to shop for your house, if you want to shop for a gift, there's probably something for every room of my house. If you want something to stand out, shop at Pier 1.
Eric Smith, Inside the Mind of a Child Killer, continues. Once again, Meredith Vieira.
Even Eric Smith may never really understand what happened that August day. Though judgment has come and gone, the questions for both sets of parents will never end. Their biggest question, why did he do it? Eric's parents hoped that turning him in would bring some answers. But until just weeks ago, and that's 15 months after Derek Roby's death, Eric had received no psychiatric treatment about the crime. Psychiatrists evaluated him, but counselors were forbidden by law from asking Eric anything about why he killed Derek Roby until after the sentencing this November. Now that he's in a maximum security juvenile prison, a prison psychologist is drawing up a treatment plan for Eric, some combination of group and individual therapy. His parents hope that this will somehow be enough, at least enough to stop Eric from ever hurting anyone else.
Up next on Channel 2 News, 2 Oregon men are dead after their plane crashes into a California apartment building. Are you paying for thieves to steal free cable television? And it's enough to make your skin crawl. We'll show you the world's longest millipede. The news is next.
Innovation from Volvo. Volvo introduces the world's first side impact airbag. Drive safely.
The essence of man.
With sheer energy, you're ready for anything. Because you're never quite sure where the day is going to take you. Sheer energy from Legs goes wherever you need it to. It's strong. It's sheer. It's beautiful. And with sheer energy, you'll have the energy you need once you get to your next destination. Sheer energy from Legs. It's amazing how far you can go in a great pair of pantyhose.
So buttery rich, so delicious, they just melt in your mouth. Yet they're golden baked, so they crunch when you bite. If it melts and it crunches, it's a Ritz.
Turning Point continues. Once again from New York, Meredith Vieira.
You won't have to wait a week to see the next Turning Point. Tomorrow night, David Brinkley will bring you a special edition of our program.
A Christmas story you'll never forget.
It's not the kind of Christmas I'd like to repeat, but...
They were soldiers who had never even seen a battle.
These guys told us this was going to be a little bit of a picnic.
The Battle of the Bulge was the biggest battle the U.S. Army ever fought.
It was unbearable. The cold and being hungry.
They wouldn't make it home for the holidays. Instead, they made history. Tomorrow, on a special edition of Turning Point.
That's our broadcast for this evening. Be sure to watch Nightline tonight after your local news. I'm Meredith Vieira. For all of us at ABC News, good night.
I'm Ted Koppel. Later on Nightline, he's got to redefine himself and